Rita from Miss Rita to the rescue here for today's cricket chat. Um, let's see. Today we are going to be doing a technique that I've been promising you for a little while, and that has to do with working with infusible ink on cotton shirts. So today we're going to take this plain cotton shirt that I picked up. Sorry, it's a huge size. They only had it in this huge size. Um, but it's a 90% cotton and 10% polyester shirt that I picked up at Michael's yesterday. And I wanted to do a Canadian, because tomorrow's Canada Day, and I wanted to do a Canadian themed shirt. But I didn't want to use the 100% polyester shirts that are done by Cricut because some people don't like them and the sizing can be a little bit difficult for some people, especially the V-necks. So I decided to use this technique, which includes using, I don't know if I can get real close so you can see it, but it includes using glitter. And what's really cool is it uses the infusible ink, but the glitter does shine right through. And this is a technique that people have been telling me about for a while, but I got inspired by my friend Shirley, who did a tote bag similar to this. And maybe she'll show it in one of the groups, but it's a really cool technique and it's something new. So let's go to town with this. So normally when you're using glitter vinyl or glitter HTV iron on, you're not supposed to put it down as the first layer. You can layer it, but it has to be the top layer. So if you wanted to make like a layer design, um, you'd put anything that was special, like your foil, your glitter, or something like that on the top as your top. And we've done that before. But because infusible ink works best with polyester or a high, I would say like a high nylon polyester type count, you can use this glitter vinyl as your bottom layer and then put the infusible ink on top and the glitter will shine through, but also you'll get to use some of the really fun colors that are um, in the infusible ink design. So today I'm just going to use this red because, Canadian white and red. And so I was going to like incorporate a little bit of black, but I thought, no, let's just stick with the white and the red. And we'll go ahead and from start to finish, we're going to create a t-shirt, 100% or not 100% cotton, but cotton t-shirt, with smart iron-on glitter and infusible ink cherry red. So let's get started, okay? So here we're going to start off with making sure that we're going to cut this on the Explore 3. So here's my Explore 3 right here. I know it's maybe, I'm going to go up a little bit so you can see everything. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that my machine is connected via Bluetooth. So I'm going to my settings. I'm using my iPad. I'm going to my settings. See, it says Bluetooth on, and then my Explore 3 is connected. Then I'm going to go to my Cricut Design Space app. And I am using an iPad. You do not need to use an iPad. You can use your phone. You can use your laptop or your regular desktop. But this is the one that I'm using. It's easier for me to show it to you this way. I'm going to go into my project. So I'm here at this home page. This is the home page, right? And I am going to go here to these like three little circle things They were like lines with circles. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but click on those. And on that, you get a pop-up menu, and we're going to choose this, my projects in the cloud, because I have put together some projects for, I do this ahead of time. So here is my shirt design. So let's go ahead to the canvas so you can see. So you'll notice here that I took one image, which, by the way, I just did an image search, right, like this, and I typed in Canadian. Did I spell it right? So I typed in Canadian, and I did get quite a few images of Canada and Canadian Day and all of that stuff. And this one is the one that I chose. I can give you this file. And what I did was, this actually, I think, was white and red. So the first thing I did was weld this image so that it would be all red. And then the second thing I did was I duplicated the image in white. That's to indicate to me that the image is going to be, that's going to be the white glitter side of the image, and this is going to be the infusible ink. And they are both the exact same size, which in this case is about 8 inches wide. Okay. And again, I will give you this file so that you don't have to recreate this. So we're going to be cutting out 2 different materials. So we're going to hit make it. And you'll notice that here's my first mat, and where's my second mat? There's my second mat. Now, once you click on this part here that says mat, we're going to first decide which one is going to be cut with a mat and which one's first is going to be cut without a mat. So the infusible ink is always cut on a mat because it's not a smart material. So here's infusible ink. This is cherry red. There are 2 sheets in here, and although it looks a little muted, it will get really bright when we add the heat to it. So let's grab a sheet of that, and that is going to be on the mat. So let's put that on the mat while we're here. And I like to put it on this way because it seems less to curl that way, but I think it's a bit of your preference. So here I am putting it on my mat. Okay. And the second one that I'm going to use is the Smart Iron-On, which does not need a mat. So we have the Smart Iron-On. So let's have a look at what our computer says. So this is the Smart Iron-On. So we're going to do this without the mat, right? Then we have to mirror it. So that's done. But on the red, we need to change it to on mat and then mirror it. Okay. So we'll close this out, and here is what your 2 mats, even though this is not a mat, your 2 cuts are going to be. Okay. So hit next. Okay. So it brings up the infusible ink first, but I kind of want to do the smart vinyl first. So I just used my thumb to go to this mat. I'm going to choose all materials, and here I'm going to choose Smart Iron-On Glitter. Now, you guys know me. I always cut with a little bit more, especially vinyl and HTV. I always cut with a little bit more pressure. It seems to me like the cuts weed much easier that way. So here is my beautiful white glitter Smart Vinyl HTV or Iron-On, and I am going to use the boring side and put the shiny side down. Okay, and then I'm just going to push it underneath these 2 rollers and hit the feed or the input there. Now, I prefer when I'm using smart vinyl not to cut my material ahead of time, because oftentimes when you're using with the smart vinyl, you have to be very careful of the amount of material you have, because let's hit go, because there is like a 1-inch space at the very top that it needs to feed into the machine. So be aware of that. Also, just pointing out that you see this cut has this whole sort of section that is not part of the cut. We can, when we get this out, we can cut this off and take that portion and save it with our scraps and use it with scraps. You can't put it in the machine without a mat, but you can use it for scraps. So nothing should ever be wasted when you did that, okay? And I just want to say hello to everybody while this is cutting out. Hi to all my friends, especially hello to my Canadian friends who will be celebrating Canada Day tomorrow. And I hope that you have opportunity to make this kind of a shirt for yourself or for a loved one. It really comes out really nice. All right. Now, I suppose you could use something other than the white glitter, but I think it would affect your end result. So, for instance, if you use gold glitter and used like infusible ink, then you would get, I suppose you would get, we should try that, but I suppose you would get like that glitter sort of peeping out. All right, so here's my leftover. I'm going to put it back in the box. And then next up is my Infusible Ink. I'm going to choose under all materials. I'm going to choose under iron-on. It should be under iron-on. There it is, Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet. So I'm going to pick that. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do more pressure. I think I will do more pressure on that. Okay. So put this underneath, feed it into the machine, and then hit that blinking button and have it go on. So while we're waiting for that to happen, or to finish cutting, we will weed this. So you noticed that I cut off this extra bit. That's my scrap. I'm going to put that aside. Let's go ahead and have this cut. And normally I weed like on a flat surface, but I don't have a huge space here. So I'm going to try to do it like this here. Since we're live, normally what I would do is cut both out and then move the machine so that I would have room, but that's okay. Here we go. It's weeding very nicely. There we go. I am going to need my weeding tool in a sec. Throw this all away. And you notice that there are a couple of letters that need to be weeded out. Let me move this just a tiny bit. Okay. And then you can see this better. All right, so I am weeding out the letters. There is a little stick to this, which is actually helpful. But someone asked me not too long ago on YouTube, do I use transfer tape with iron-on? And the answer is no. You do not use transfer tape with iron-on. So what you do use is this backing, often called the carrier sheet, and it has a stick to it because it makes it, well, I don't know why, but it has a stick to it and it makes it easy to stick to whatever it is you're putting it on, which is great. Okay. So there is, oops, I missed over here. So there is our white, and you see, turn it over. It says proud to be Canadian. Now I want to point out right here at this little juncture where the D and the I come across, I had a little bit of trouble when I weeded my infusible ink. I lost that little triangle there, and I want to show you how that turned out. So here I lost this little triangle, and so that doesn't show up with infusible ink. But and also the I, the little dot over the I came off, so I had to hand place it. You can see that there is like a little bit of a shadow of red, but from far away you can't really tell that that is an issue. We'll just be real cognizant of it when we do it the next time. All right, let's take this out. We're going to move the machine over, and here's my infusible ink transfer sheet. I am going to take my scissors and I'm going to save this. This is all real good stuff, and we're going to probably use it to make a mug or hat. So it's really good to use that stuff. Now, infusible ink transfer sheets are more paper than they are plastic. They are on a transfer like material, but it is different. It feels different. It weeds differently. So what you're going to do is actually you're going to roll it slightly like this and start picking out the pieces that you don't want. All right. So I'm taking out the inside of the letters. And let's do the same down here for the word Canadian. Or for the word Canadian. All right. So now that we did all of the spaces that are going to come out, we're going to then start, and we can do that in the corner here. We're just going to start peeling this. Now this is paper, so it doesn't require that you use a weeding tool, but you have to be careful when you're weeding so that you don't, for instance, take off these pieces that you want, like this slash right there. Okay, so if it helps, you can kind of just do it in sections. Like here, I'm just doing it in sections. Put aside these little bits and then come back and do another section. That's the way I do it. It's a little bit easier that way for me. So I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if I ever told you this, but actually my mom's family is from Canada. My grandmother actually was from Victoria. I think it's Victoria. It's on the West Coast. And she moved to Nova Scotia in the, I think it was the 20s. I don't remember, 20s or whatever. And then she met somebody that worked on the railroad. Isn't that great? What a great story. And she moved to Massachusetts with him and raised all sorts of babies, actually, 6 babies. So there's that. Now look, I lost that little bit again. I don't know where it is. I thought that I had it, but oh, there it is. So I have this little, it's so tiny, but I'm going to try to place it on there. I am going to use my weeding tool to sort of make sure I've got the right placement on there. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try. All right. So I suppose I could use this t-shirt. I'm not really Canadian. I was born in America, but my mother is a first generation Canadian. Okay, so there we go. And I just have a few more pieces that I've got to weed here. Right here. So it is, yeah, Victoria. So that's where my grandmother came from a large family, moved out here to Nova Scotia, married a railroad man. The rest is history. And my father's side is from Italy. So we don't have a Italian. We used to have like Columbus Day, but this kind of got ruined with Columbus being a jerk. But it'd be nice to have an Italian Day, wouldn't it? I think so. And I sort of identify more with my Italian roots because my mother's family, although big, wasn't as involved with our family growing up. So we did everything with my father's side, and it was all Italian everything. So there you go. All right. So there it is. So here's our proud to be Canadian in the glitter. And then here, and I know I'm going to have a problem with that little triangle, but we'll deal with it. Okay. We're going to be using the auto press, and the auto press, as you know, is a brand new product from Cricut. I'm going to bring you over to show you, but the first thing that I want to do is I want to find out about heating up and doing the iron-on for these two products. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down the glitter iron-on. So I'm going to the heat guide, choosing auto press, and hopefully it will let me choose the auto press. There we go. And then I'm going to set this up for Smart Iron-On Glitter. And it is going on it's not really 100% cotton, but it's close to it. And then we are going to use pressing mat and hit apply. So here we are. It says to preheat for 5 seconds and to heat up the press to 330 seconds. So let's move over a little bit to see our auto press, which is open. You see, and it does close, so you don't have to leave it open if you don't want to. But when you start to heat it up, you do have to open it up and then turn it on. You can't really see, but where my finger is pointing, that's how you turn it on. Now we're going to take the pod, I think it's called a pod, and we are going to make sure that it is at 330 degrees Fahrenheit. I suppose we should switch to maybe we should switch to Celsius because we're doing a Canadian shirt. But anyway, and then I'm going to make sure that I turn my time actually to 5 seconds because that's for the preheat. Okay. Now, do note about this machine is that all of the heat is contained in the upper portion. And then around that portion is a bunch of fans, like almost like a channel of fans. And so you do feel some heat coming off of this, and you should use this in a well ventilated area. But you don't have to worry about burning yourself like I did yesterday with my glue gun. So you don't have to worry about that. And also what you can do is you can actually lift this portion off. You see, this is just like the Easy Press mat, but it has like these silicone grippy things on the back. So if you want to, and I will show you how we'll use that the second time when we do the Infusible Ink, you can remove it and set up your t-shirt or whatever you're printing or whatever you're doing by taking this off. But for the time being, for this one, I'm just going to do the heat up. right? I'm going to do the preheat. Let me just show you again what we're working on. Today we're going to do it on gray. I suppose you could do this on any color, which is cool because I was thinking yesterday about a flamingo shirt that I really wanted to do for my mom. And I was thinking, oh, wouldn't a light pink with like a really bright flamingo color in infusible ink look great? But only Cricut, the colors are only that are available are gray and white. And so I might do that for my mom, or whatever for myself or whatever. And this really does open up a lot of possibilities. But you are using two layers, and you have to be very careful about how you um, how you layer them, because here, this was my first try, and you see I have a little bit of shadow. I don't think that's terrible, but I want to be very careful the second time around. But this was my first attempt, and I think, yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it's got kind of a glitter look to it, which is also cool. So there is that. So we're waiting for the pod to say 330. While we're waiting for that, I just want to say hello to my friends. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Bren and Dawn. Hi, Terry and Mama Bear. How are you today? I think I saw Loretta, Shirley. Um, yes, sublimation. Anything flamingo. Yeah, flamingos would be fun. Fun. So it really does open up a lot of possibilities, doesn't it? And it really got my brain working and sort of coming up with different ideas. That's the fun thing about working with Cricuts, is that there's so many possibilities, and you can try all these different techniques. The other thing is that the community, especially the community that we have developed here with Cricut Chat, is so very interested in circulating ideas, in coming up with ideas. I probably wouldn't have done this had Shirley not shown me again. I know people have shown me before, but Shirley showed me again on Saturday night in our Zoom call. So we really appreciate that. It's a learning process with us all, and that yeah, I might be the presenter, but I don't want to claim to know everything there is to know about Cricut, because I don't. I learned from your mistakes, my mistakes, your ideas, my ideas. So it just makes it a whole lot of fun to have this kind of community. And let me also say that tomorrow, which is the first day of July, we will be doing our announcement for the June giveaway. So if you put your name in for one of the June giveaways, I will be making the announcements tomorrow. That means you get to see my face for a few minutes. And then afterwards, we'll go to I think we're going to do a mug with the mug press. I was thinking about doing a hat, but I decided on a mug, and I did get my mug press. All right, so 330 degrees Fahrenheit and 5 seconds is what we're going to do for the preheat. So I am just closing this up. Now, I don't know that I can get like a good angle, but I want you to see that when you close this up, there, that might work. When you close it up, it's really a very easy lift. It's not really a lift, but it's so if you have upper body issues, which I do, I really appreciate that about this machine. So here is our glitter, and we're going to put it on the shirt. I'm going to I just eyeball it, but I always look at the tag and where the tag is and sort of do it in the middle, right down the middle there. So there is our proud to be Canadian, and we are going to heat this for 40 seconds. So let's go ahead and switch to 40 seconds. And now you can see, I want it to move. Now you can see how I'm closing this. So I'm just grabbing the handle, and the handle is all that has a little give. And when you pull it down, just ever so slightly, it's like a quarter or half an inch that you're pulling it down. It You can hear a noise, and it's basically the machine assigning the pressure to the material. So no more, if you do get this, no more pressing and pushing down with your iron or with your easy press. It takes care of all that pressure issue for you. And for me, as a person that has a disability, um, with and I have a muscle, like a muscular thing, this works out really well for me. All right, it's all done. So the next thing that we want to do is find out what temperature we need our infusible ink to be on. So again, we're going to choose our auto press. I'm going to just, yeah, here we go. I'm going to choose the auto press, and I'm going to now say I'm going to use Infusible Ink transfer sheet. And in this case, I am going to choose a t-shirt. Now, the reason why I'm choosing a t-shirt is that I know that the Cricut blanks are polyester. So that's why I'm choosing this. It's not a regular, by choosing Infusible Ink, we only get these Cricut blanks. So depending on what you use, you need to choose from this list. Okay, so t-shirt, add the pressing mat, and hit apply, and let's see what it says. It says that we need to preheat for 15 seconds. Well, I'm not going to preheat because it already did the preheat, but I need to change my pod to 400, which I will do, and I'm also going to do 45 seconds. All right, 46, 45. I just want to make sure I did this right. So I've got the auto press, Infusible Ink transfer sheets, and the t-shirt. And then I'm going to hit apply, 400 for 45 seconds. Now I want to point out that there are these three squiggly lines right here that are red, which means that the machine is working its way up to that temperature. We had to go up 70 degrees. So it might take a minute or two for us to wait for that to happen. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my t-shirt and move the whole thing over here. And let me get it so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, so there's our t-shirt. It is cooled down sufficiently for me to peel. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel off this transfer or carrier sheet. And that looks cool like it is, but you know, Canada, it needs to be red. So that's where we get our red infusible ink. And I'm going to actually take this little diamond thing and I'm going to hand place it so that way it gets on there. So let's see. I'm going to hand place it right there. Hopefully it will stay when I lift up that infusible ink. Okay, so the goal of this is to get your cutouts to match insanely accurately. If you don't do that, you will have some shadowing, as I mentioned and showed you from my first attempt. So I'm just having this little tiny thing is going to be it's going to be my undoing. So I'm so happy that we have friends in Canada that join us on a regular basis. Canadians are just such lovely people, and it's so nice to know them. So let's go back here, and I just want to make sure this is placed right. Please work. Please cooperate. Now you see here, I have tried every effort to make sure that the infusible ink, which has the ink side down, be completely on top of that glitter, and I'm hoping that that is going to work for us. So I'm going to now lift the entire pad and all and put it onto my easy press, auto press, and now I'm going to move you. Yeah, I think sometimes I know that there's a little bit of discussion about politics going on right now in our chat, but I think the thing I like about Canadians is that they don't seem to be as argumentative uh, as Americans are, particularly about politics, unless I'm just not seeing it. All right, so it has gone up to the 400 degrees. There is our 3 squigglies in green, meaning go, and then 45 seconds. So let's go ahead and do this thing. So let's close it up and press down and wait the 45 seconds. So let's see, what else was I going to tell you? So tomorrow we're having the announcement. So we're just going to do an easy mug. I think we'll do a Canadian mug. It says 100% Canadian from A to Z. A, eh, eh. I don't know. But it's a really cute thing I found on Design Space that I wanted to show you. So that will end our week. Tomorrow will end our week, and we're going into the holiday, but I will be back on 4th of July, which is Monday. And that is the week that we start the new schedule. Okay. It's done. Let's see what happened. All right. I am going to get a little closer so you can see. It is very, very hot. Okay. It's very, very hot, but I'm going to brave it by taking this transfer sheet and start pulling it up and see how it came out. It's beautiful. I think it is. Isn't that beautiful? Proud to be Canadian. Now let's have a real close look. First of all, la la la, look at, I got that. I finally got that in. And there is a slight overlap here, but not any of that shadowing that we experienced on the first one. I really like that it's on gray. I love the idea of doing it on different colors. I really like the idea that the glitter kind of shines through as well. So this is a really fun technique that we're going to have to do more often. I really, really like this because for some people, they don't like polyester. Like I'm thinking my friends at the farm, they wanted cotton shirts, and they just couldn't sweat in they would just not be able to do their farming with polyester shirts. So this is a great alternative for that. Don't you agree? And I like the glittery. I love the glittery effect. So folks, that is our project for today. I will make sure that I really like the way this looks. I do. Now, the images are from Design Space. And again, the shirts are just these cotton shirts that I got from various places, but all the materials that I use, including the auto press to press it, and the Explore 3 and the iPad app is all Cricut. And I would encourage you to shop. If you're going to shop, I do have a Cricut link that you can use to support me. The other thing I want to mention is today is the last day for you to sign up to be a patron on my Patreon page. And in addition to supporting me, which I thank you very, very much. And I'm actually on Monday, I'm going to be doing a shout out to all of my Patreon friends, my patrons on Patreon. And then I'm also going to be picking 2 winners each month. And those people are going to basically get a Cricut cutie that I have a big box of cuties, and I'm just going to put my hand in and grab one, and then I will go shopping in my studio and pick all kinds of different craft stuff and send it to 2 of my patrons on Patreon. So if you're interested in winning a prize, this is a really good opportunity because I don't have that many patrons on Patreon, and this way, you could win a cutie if you've never actually gotten one. All right. So that's going to do it for me. Does it feel any stiffer? Does it feel stiffer? It doesn't feel terribly stiff. I mean, yes, when you're doing just infusible ink, there's no stiffness at all. But in this case, yeah, it's a little stiff. And I would think that this eventually might peel off. However, I really feel confident in the Cricut iron-on material that it really does stay very well, especially if it's applied the correct way. And how could you avoid applying it the correct way if you are using the auto press, because it regulates the temperature and the pressure for you. So there you go. All right, everybody. I cannot get my infusible ink. No, will not work for me. Oh, yeah. So the infusible ink does not have extra weight. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for this really fun project. Happy Canada Day to my friends. I will see you, which is tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow to announce the winners of the June giveaways, and then also to do a mug design. I think we'll do a Canadian mug design. And that is it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed that. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time, everyone. So thank you so much. Have a great day.